Hi, welcome to the second episode of Smashing Apps. Unbelievably, the first one was actually watched by a few people, so we're doing it all over again. I'm Jacob Woolcock again, and this time I'm joined by three completely new people. We haven't kicked the other ones off, but we're going to try and alternate a little bit. So I'm actually joined by Emma, Matt, and Sabe, and I'm going to pass you off to Emma to introduce herself first of all.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma Oxley-Simpson and I teach down in Cape Town, South Africa.
I'm Matt Warne I teach in Worcester, which is UK. I'm struggling for a bit of Wi-Fi tonight, but we're back. Okay, I think we're back, and I'm not a fuzzy image. So looking forward to sharing some great ideas and listening to what you guys have got to offer tonight.
Hi guys, my name is Sabe. I'm here in the UAE. People always think of the UAE as just Dubai. I'm actually a little bit north of Dubai. I'm in Sharjah.
Perfect. Well, it's lovely to have you all here tonight. Thank you for making the time in your evenings to fit this in. Hopefully we'll have a good chance to share some new apps as well and learn a bit from each other. That's one of the things that we're so good at doing, is learning from each other, and I can't wait to see what you've all got to share. I think, if it's okay with you, Emma, we'll start off with you.
Okay, so I have what I think is a fabulous app to share with everyone. It's called Simple Learning Time, and it was actually developed by two of our learners at our high school.
Oh.
Which is why I want to share it, because it's totally cool. So it was developed, I have a photograph, by these two guys here, Stefan Spears and Luke Bowles, and they're part of our mobile app development team that's up in our high school on one of our campuses. And there were a couple of us who were using this amazing free app, and when we tried to reinstall it on iPads, it wasn't available on the App Store. So two of us went to these guys and we went, we're just junior preparatory teachers and we want an app. And these two kids went, okay, what do you want it to do? So we explained to them what the app we were using was and what it did. And they came to us with a beta version, which we tested, and we loved it and gave them some new ideas of what we wanted. And they made us the most amazing app. And the best part is it's available free on the App Store for anyone and everyone to download. So let me show you what it is.
Wow.
That's incredible.
It's called Simple Learning Time. And it is a time-based app, so it's something to help, especially the little learners who want to see things very visually. It can do analog and it can do digital. So here you can see we've got the digital time, and if I just tap on the icon next door to it, I can remove the digital time. I've also got the 12-hour time, so then that tells me the AM and the PM time.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. If you put your finger on one of these dots and you rotate, did you see that it turned to daytime?
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
So lovely.
That's such a great design.
And there's more.
Ooh.
So if you tap the little dice, it does random times so that the children can sort of have some fun and just do random times. But then we asked the two boys, we said to them that we wanted there to be some sort of like a quiz-based involved so that the children could set a time and see if they got it right. So if they tap the little, it looks like a little test. It gives them a time and they have to set it on the clock. So here we've got 15 minutes past 6, but in the afternoon. So they take the hour hand and they take the minute hand. And when they tap the little line, it gives them a tick if they got it right, or it'll give them a little cross if they got it wrong. So it's really hands-on. It's incredibly visual. It's colorful. The numbers are all very clear. So you need to put on your junior preparatory teacher's hat. So that's the grades 1, 2s, and 3s. And imagine how fussy those teachers are when they want the children to write the numbers and they want them to look really nice and clear. That's what we wanted in this. It's so easy to use. And the fact that two teenagers made this for some very fussy teachers just makes my heart sing.
That's absolutely incredible, Emma.
What I want to show you what some of our teachers have done is they've made a book in Book Creator that they've shared with all the kiddos, and they've asked them some various questions based on time. So what they've said is, one lazy Saturday, Susan woke up to the smell of breakfast. Now they have to read the clock, and then they say 15 minutes later it started to rain. What time is it now? Set the time on your timer, take a screenshot and insert it in. And then there's a lot of more like problem-based questions where they have to go to the app, set the time, take a screenshot and place it in. So they're problem solving, they're doing time, they're reading. So it's been a lot of fun. And the fact that it's free and it was made by two teenagers, just it sings to everyone, every teacher's heart. So in a nutshell, short and sweet, that's my app, Simple Learning Time.
Emma, that is amazing.
That's very cool.
I'm loving
Thank
that.
you,
Cool, hey?
thank you for sharing that first of all, and how wonderful that it's got that connection to the children that you work with as well.
Yeah.
You could have showed that app and not mentioned that, and I would have thought that's a really, really great app that every school would benefit from. And to know that someone actually from your school has made that is phenomenal. It's amazing.
It is, yeah. And
You
the
know
fact
what
that
I
they
love
have a
about
beta
it?
version. Yeah?
What I love about it is the actual. I've just downloaded it. Is
Okay.
the sun and the moon. You know how it changes through the day. That's cool. That's really, really
It is.
cool. I love that part of it.
And it makes it, the children struggle with that whole AM and PM and the digital time and how different it looks. And as soon as you see the sun and the moon, you know exactly what part of the day you're in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you first put this in the classroom in the hands of the children, they just grab hold of the hour hand and they just like nuttily go round.
Yeah.
But, that's loads of fun. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So many apps are overcomplicated and they almost try and do too much. But what you've shown us there, it looks perfect and targeted at that age range as well. I can see us using that in school tomorrow. It's brilliant.
Absolutely, and it was made with the little ones in mind. There was a school in the US, one of the whole counties had downloaded sort of tens of thousands of these all in one day. So for us, that was like, that's amazing.
Wow. That's so good.
It's cool. I'm just loving turning the dial around and around, and watch the moon go and the sun come around. That's awesome.
You're looking pretty engaged there, Sabe. I think it's a good.
I am, and that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Student engagement.
Emma, can I ask a question? I mean, firstly, I love the aesthetics, the design of that. Sometimes, as you said, Sabe, it is just overcomplicated. But the fact is that is such a simple app, and I love the fact you built that into like a book creator, asking questions. I think that's really cool. What sort of information did you give the boys before they went away and programmed that?
We were quite particular on we wanted the sun and the moon so that it clearly showed for our children. We also gave them quite clear instructions on what we wanted for the fonts because we didn't want the 6 and the 9 to be too similar. You know how the 9 can sometimes be just a flipped 6?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And that's quite difficult for our kiddos to see sometimes. So we wanted it to be a very clear 9. We didn't want the 4 to look like a sailboat. So we were quite fussy on that kind of thing. And the fact that we wanted AM and PM and digital. So that's kind of what we said was the minimum. If they gave us that, we'd be happy. And within a couple of weeks, we had a beta version and it was phenomenal. And so we gave some feedback to the boys saying, we really liked it. And silly them, they said, is there anything else you want? And we went, well, now that you're asking, and that's when we asked for the quiz element that you can have this wonderful sort of, it gives you a time and now the children can apply their knowledge on what the time is and test themselves. Like, how cool is that, So,
brilliant.
So 3 months turnaround, we had the most amazing app that we truly, truly love.
I just love the fact that's come directly from the process of learners needing something. You've obviously outsourced that to again within your school, but kids who've got the talent to actually that bigger sort of picture thinking. I think that's incredible.
And what was even more amazing when we put it on our iPads for the grade 1s for the first time, we invited the boys into the classroom so that the grade 1s could see who had actually made this app. And they all sat there with these big eyes and they kept going, can I do that? And of course we were like, of course you can. Like, this is limitless. Anyone can do this. And for them to see their school uniform, someone had made this, there was this lovely connection. So it's also inspiring when you tell the kids, someone in your school made this,
There's your challenge-based learning, isn't it? Like right there, that's a prime example of it happening right under your roof, and to be able to showcase that to your entire community as well, like that's phenomenal. If anybody ever asks, why the iPad program, you go, you know what, here, this is why, because this is the type of stuff that they're actually creating, and this is what they're contributing. Like tick, 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 done.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that app and actually start sort of sharing it around school tomorrow. I think that's really cool, really powerful tool.
And it is, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that, Emma. That is an amazing app, and I can't wait to start using that with my classes as well. Let's pass over to Matt and see what he's going to share this evening.
Okay, thanks, guys. So we've taken a little bit of a different direction with our DLP, the digital learning program. What we've looked at recently is something called video delay. We've had so many different subject areas using the digital learning program, and I've had the PE department feeling a little bit left out. So we've really taken on a little bit of a different slant this term especially, and it's something that is pretty close to my heart, kids getting active. What I don't want to ever see is really the iPad getting in the way of physical activity. That hour session in a week, let's say, for most schools, the last thing you want is kids just all using iPads and that, getting in the way, hindering physical activity. So we've experimented with high impact measures, different ways of really, how can we flip this? How can we sort of give the kids a little bit more control in terms of their lessons? So the app I've used, and there's a few of these on the market, but this one is probably the best I've found. It's called Video Delay. Now, the idea behind this, the game plan behind this was that the iPad is going to purely sit in the background of the lesson. What we don't want to do is to make this about the technology. The technology is going to be something that's going to assist the actual teacher who's leading the session. So basically, what you've got here is an app that captures real life footage. It's basically using, I think, probably the best tool on the iPad, mobile device learning tool, which is the camera. What you can do with this tool then is you can film the real live footage. There's no setup. I would show you sort of directly into the app, but it will basically just do a direct screen capture. No time to set up at all. You're straight in. It records in delays. So you put on a video delay on the actual camera footage that is taking place. And you think, well, okay, here's an image of, you might see my cat's scratching post. I thought you'd like to see how it might look. You can trigger this between 1 and 4 screens, depending on sort of what you're after. And then basically in the top left, I had a 4-second delay, 6-second delay, 8-second delay, 10-second delay.
Yeah.
Right. The way this has really had impact, we've got a group of year 3 children, so they're probably about the age of 7. And what we did then is we set up, the full sort of cricket bowl. Can we get these girls bowling a cricket ball better than we did last year? The way we've done that then is we've just used tripods. We've used old iPad 4s that we've got, which are basically, they're being recycled, which is brilliant. And what we've done then is basically set them up on tripods. Underneath each tripod, we put a tips sheet, a bit of a crib sheet. Really emphasise that the PE is what we're after. We're after the skills in terms of your cricket bowl. The girls in this instance, you can probably see if I go in a little bit closer in the image. They would go and bowl a cricket ball. We've got about 5 lines of about 3 girls in each. So predominantly they are getting so much practice in this session. As soon as they've bowled, the video delay on each tripod is set up. We've got, it's experimenting with this. Let's say a 20-second delay. Obviously that will take you 20 seconds to set up, because the moment you press let's go, it will obviously sort of delay the live footage by 20 seconds and relay it back to the camera. And we've got a picture then of the girls who just bowled the ball, coming back round, gathering round. Underneath the tripod, you've got the coaching tips. And I tell you what, the impact that this has had is sort of hairs on the back of my neck. Going out there, watching something that we've been able to recycle and use to set up. We've had a group of, 7-year-old girls doing a full cricket bowl with so much more accuracy than we've ever seen before. Because basically what they've got now, they've got the teacher, which is, we're pretty well resourced. We're probably about 1 teacher to, I suppose on girls' games, it might be 2 or 3 teachers to about 30 children, maybe less than that. But now what they've got is they've got their own coach here. They go and bowl the ball. They go straight back to this line. There might be 2 or 3 of them actually having a little look at that and actually looking at the crib sheet and saying, I'll just hold that one up so you can see. That is so important that you've got the feedback for them. The teacher can work between the stations. And then what you've got is you've got a really high impactful tool that just sits in the background of a lesson. We've used this in gymnastics. We've used this in dance. I've got a little video I'll show you there, guys. So basically you can see the teacher working with the group, the children, making a performance. These are year 1 pupils, by the way, so of the age of approximately 5. So they go, They do their performance. We didn't have enough tripods. This is just set up on the top of a balance table. We've ordered some more. They're not expensive.
Yeah.
And the app was probably about £4. You can do a free version, but you do have some ads on there. And what we found was just the sheer engagement of these pupils. From the age of 5, they are having access to what professional sports people do. They're doing a little forward roll, or they're attempting a handstand. They might talk to the teacher, but the teacher will go around with them and say, look, can you see exactly what you're doing on that? This is what you need to do next. Absolutely mind-blowing. And here you can just see a few children who actually will walk round to the back. They'll watch for literally 15 seconds, see what they've done, go to the back, and then straight back, and they're active again. And so far, we've experimented in cricket. We've done it with gymnastics. And again, we're just looking for just different areas where we could actually use this. And then finally, that is the final clip. So really, really simple tool, but in terms of what we use technology for, that's just had so much impact in terms of what we're trying to achieve. And that's quite a difficult thing, isn't it, to get the balance of sport and technology, where kids are actually getting that health-related exercise and they're actually working out in that. For some children, unfortunately, which is their access to the sort of the healthy lifestyles in the week. So video delay. There's a few of them on the market, but that's the one that we think is really impactful.
Yeah, it's incredible how something so simple has such a profound impact and makes such a difference to the children who are using it. It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've only really started on this journey, but I think what you'd see is if you went into that lesson as a fly on the wall, is that technology is just there. It's not the sole purpose of the lesson. Someone hasn't just tried to force technology into a lesson. They've said, you know what, let's use this because it's having an impact.
Yeah.
So that's what
that's such a key thing, isn't it? That's such a key thing, to actually use it not just for the sake of having it there, but use it to make a meaningful difference. And I think you said the technology kind of melts into the background almost when the lesson's happening, and that's exactly it. It should be a tool. It shouldn't be the focus.
No, absolutely. And we've got some of the teachers using it. You wouldn't class them as the huge users of technology, but even they are looking at this and saying, wow, this is having impact. That case study we did on cricket was, we've taught cricket in that way without the tripods and without the video delay. In the same manner for the last 5 years. This is the first group of 7-year-old girls we've had come through the system who are actually 90% there in terms of having a full bowl, which is really arguably one of the toughest things you can do in sport. A full cricket bowl. I still struggle at times. Sabe, I don't know about your bowl. I know Emma's got it from watching her bowl. Different bowling. But it's a really difficult thing, but actually being able to visually see what we're doing, I'm a pretty visual learner, and I'll tell you what, that would work for me as well. So.
I think for me, that's the big thing, is that it's so visual, and we know our children want to see what they're doing, and the fact that they can come run round and see what they've done, and either where they've gone right or what they've managed to nail, and where they need to work, for me, it's like the winner.
Yeah, I think if you were to work one-to-one with a child, you'd just do simply a screen record on this, and you'd say, right, okay, well, let's mark this up. Let's have a little look at those angles where the arm is. You'd slow motion it. There's so many things you could do. Yeah. But at the moment, with a large group of kids, that's just having an impact on 5 iPads, 5 tripods.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just love how it's so not intrusive. Like, it's just there in the background. Like, it's just like a painting that, hanging on the wall. You just do your thing and you can go and check it afterwards. Like, I love that part about it. Like, it's not something that they have to interact with. It's just there.
Yeah, I think week 1 they're a bit excited that you've got something completely different. Week 2 it's just the norm. And from there we've just really sort of tried to develop it and refine it a little bit more. So.
Yeah. And I think what you said about introducing technology across the whole curriculum and finding something meaningful and useful for the PE department, it's not the easiest task in the world, but you can see instantly how many different sports that could work in, how many different activities that could work in. That doesn't just fulfill one purpose. That could be used across the whole PE curriculum for the whole year, and it would have such a positive impact the whole way through, which is great.
No, absolutely. I think if it's, you always got to ask that why, haven't you? Why are we doing this? You got it from teachers saying it's having impact. The kids saying, I can actually bowl a cricket ball. I couldn't do that 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really,
Pleasure.
That's so
really interesting.
cool.
I've learned a lot from that.
It's definitely
Okay,
recording.
so I'm going to pass
Yeah,
over
it
to
is.
Sabe now, and we'll have a look at the app he's going to share. I'm quite excited for this one. So, Sabe, over to you.
Yes. Okay. So the app that I'm going to be talking to you about is Adobe Spark. It's had a few name changes over the time, but I think it's currently called Spark Video. Has been rebranded again. I think of it as it's like a Keynote and an iMovie and Eclipse all sort of coming into one. Some have argued that it's very similar to Clips, but I think it's actually got some features that Clips doesn't actually have. What I love about it is it's got like you can like down the bottom there you can probably see it. It's got a space for you to add individual slides, and you can add vector images. And as you can see, like for each slide, you can choose the layout as well. There's a whole range of layouts at the top there. Can I do it this way? And down the bottom, for every single slide, you can actually record some audio. You can insert video. And what I love about it, it's got, I think it's a 30-second or maybe a minute recording option on it, where you can record audio over it. And what I love about it is it just auto sort of generates the different the slides that you need as you go through, and you can. This is actually an example one of the students has created. It's about the water cycle. So we've used it to explain. He's used it for his explanation writing around the water cycle. The best part about what I love about it is often, when you can send kids off to go do a project, they when they're looking for images or cartoons or whatever, they're ripping things off Google. Like they don't know things like Pixabay and how to go find the copyright-free images. This actually has. I'm going to go create an extra slide. So if I go down to the end, let's go to the end. If I create an extra slide and go, okay, if I'm going to add a photo onto it, I can actually search like free photos. If I searched up, I don't know, dog, for example, it comes up with a ton of like copyright-free images that they can actually use for their presentation. So you don't even, and you can. It just takes that sting out of it. Like you don't need to have to worry about that. It's not just got photos. It's actually also got icons as well. So like it kind of puts like check out all the dogs that this has.
There's loads.
It's like a ton. There's loads. It's like a ton more than the Keynote vectors that you got, and it just keeps going. Like there's tons. You just flick through. There's so many, and the kids love it. So we've used it at school, mainly for presentations, to put it all together where they can explain something. And obviously, I teach at an EAL school. We're predominantly 95% of the kids are from an EAL background. I love the fact that I can actually get the kids to record your audio of what you're explaining, and they can listen to it straight away. Now, I don't want to muck up this student's work, but maybe I'll give it a go. So you can just press and hold, and you just talk as you normally would, and it's got the counter on the screen, so you can see how long you're actually talking for. And when you're done, it actually then you can press the play, and it will play the audio for you. And if you think, oh, you know what, I'm not as fluent, or I've mispronounced that word, the kids could actually then just go over and re-record by just tapping over it. There's no deleting, nothing at all. So it just kind of organically kind of builds it as they go, so they can edit and rework, and really perfect what they're trying to say as they come through. Best part about it, it's also got a whole range of music that's there, so the kids can actually choose from as well. Yeah, as background, as backing tracks and everything for them to play. You can actually choose from your iTunes, so you can import from GarageBand into your iTunes and then into here as well. And when you're done with the entire presentation, it can actually export it as a movie file that can save into your camera roll too. Yeah, so it just puts it all together, and it's all curated. So if I'm just going to delete that slide that I've stuffed up the students' work on, and I'll go back to it. Like I'll just play it, because I think what he's done, he's really he's really worked on. He was a student in my class that just could not be as fluent when he was reading his own work out loud. Like I keep joking to him about how he sounds like Siri, and you want to, put some life into it, albeit she has come a long way and she has a bit more personality, but in her early stages, she was very robotic.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "That's your aim. I don't want you to sound like her. I want you to sound like her
Pretty important, isn't
in
it?
like 10 years' time." Yeah, I said, I want you to sound like her in
I'd
10
love
years'
to be a kid
time.
in Sabe's class.
And yeah, imagine going home. My teacher told me I sound like Siri. I need to try that again. But he did. He went home and he was relentless, and he just tried and tried and tried again. What I love about it, like, I hope you guys can hear this. Let me put this up so you can actually hear it. Like, here it goes here. When it wants to play.
The water cycle. Despite the Earth being 4.543 billion years old, the water cycle has occurred since there was water on the planet. The water cycle has 3 stages: evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. It all starts off as water in lakes, oceans, and rivers. When the sun heats up these bodies of water, water turns into water vapor, which is a gas. In addition to that,
So you get the idea. It keeps going on for, I think, another minute and a half. So you get the idea on how it's actually functioning. I just love the fact that it's got everything that you need in that one place. So I think I've used it in a place where, if the kids don't quite have the, GarageBand skills or the iMovie skills to try and piece it together, this is almost like a step before that. Like, these are the types of things that you can do. And when you want to further customize it with your own transitions and things like that, then you can explore your iMovie, your GarageBand, and all that kind of stuff. Because this is, to some extent, limiting, but it also has like a wide range of tools that it can actually offer as well. So that's it there. We've used it for maths. We've used it mainly in literacy. I've used it with, this year I'm currently using it with my EAL students where they're recording their daily reading on this. So they're building a giant bank of it. And at the end of each week, then they post that onto Seesaw. So it all just kind of combines it all. So we're not getting drips and drabs the whole way through.
Right.
They can actually see how they're reworking themselves throughout the entire week. And then by the end of the week, they've got this masterpiece that they can be proud of. And in all honesty, it has done wonders for some of the kids who just need someone to sit there. And if they can't get someone at home to sit with them, they've got Adobe Spark sitting there and helping them out so they can actually hear and give them some advice. So love that part about it. And it's really easy to use too. So there we have it.
That's amazing. I think it's a fantastic app. I've used that quite a bit in the past. I think for me, it's the simplicity, isn't it? Just it's not all about the images, transitions, or where stuff goes. You've got a really simple image, and it's about your voice, isn't it? It's about that sort of story you're trying to tell with it. Only question I've got for you is with the actual sign up for that Adobe, the actual login info requires you to be a certain age. How do you as your school get around that?
So what we actually did was I created, and I don't know how other people will feel about this one. I created a teacher account, so my teacher account, and I actually got all the kids to log in using my one. So it runs on all of their iPads with my account because we're huge on the digital citizenship side of things. One of my kids said, we could just lie about our age, and that was another discussion in itself around how that's not okay. And I said, look, I'm going to trust you with my login, and at least this way, and I've actually encouraged all the teachers at our school, especially in the shared devices, to do it that way. So regardless of what iPad they pick up, because it's got cloud storage, they can pick up any iPad and carry on.
I think that's
whatever
the
they're working on.
You've said that. That's sort of the approach that I took, and set up a number of teacher accounts, and then you will find the work on every device, and straight onto the camera. It's a great app, isn't it? Really nice and simplistic. Yeah, it's
awesome.
great.
Yeah, it really was, and I think even setting up, like getting the kids to teach, getting them to learn how to just the naming protocols around files and stuff like that was a real easy place to start with our preps and our grade ones. This is what I do. I just put my name and 5C because they haven't been doing a lot of jumping on and naming files on a laptop or a desktop with USBs and stuff because their time's limited on that. Where they have more time on this, so that concept around labeling files and this and that was touched on with that too. So I think it's kind of covered a lot of that. It is a great app, and it actually runs on desktop computers fine too. So you don't actually need an iPad or a tablet. It functions through a browser fine too.
It does look good, doesn't it? So easy to get something that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Great show. Really good show.
Emma, have you used it before in your school, or is it new to
I
you?
haven't, no. So I'm definitely one of those clips fans. Like for me,
Yeah,
nothing
me too.
touches clips. So this is definitely something I've already downloaded it, and I can see it out the corner of my eye, and I'm desperate to start tapping that lovely plus to go and compare it. But like how lovely to have. For me, I love that there's images that the children can use free, which is why I've now started doing a lot more movie making in Keynote with my children, because of all those lovely assets. Like rather use those, make your own pictures, let it be free. So this could be actually an even better one for my older children. So for my grades 4, 5, and 6s, because they obviously want the nicer pictures. So that could definitely be a great answer.
Yeah.
With the images, when our kids had that same issue, we got them to download the Pixabay app onto their iPads, and they can get like beautifully stunning. Yeah, there is one beautifully stunning, like high resolution photos off there as well.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's a nice one. Thank you.
Yeah, Jacob, I was just going to say, can we segue and do a like fifth app smash?
Have you got Pixabay on there now? Have you?
I've got Pixabay on here.
Go on, show us quickly.
Okay, so Pixabay looks like that. That's the logo there. It's a green icon. And here, it's awesome. Let's just search up dog again, shall we? So we search up dog. And I love this. Like, it comes up with a whole ton of, again, copyright-free images that you can use. But wait for it. There's more. You can click on the settings tool, and you can actually filter by photo, illustration, or vector. And so let's just change it to illustration, and it gives you a whole bunch of PNG files as well with the background removed. So you can use all of that. And then if you and obviously you can go to vector as well, and it comes up with a whole ton of stuff.
I love the orientation as well. That's amazing.
Yeah. And there's a whole
we're loving that.
There's a whole collection of things that you can use on there. And when you want it, like when you click into something, let's just say I want this dog here, and you click on the download up in the top corner, you can actually choose a different resolution that you want as well.
Wow.
So you can actually and there's a point of discussion as well. Like I spoke to my kids the other day about what a PNG file is and what the pixel ratio actually means and when it's appropriate to use what. So there's that discussion. So what it does, it just saves it into their camera roll, and then once they've saved it into their camera roll, if they're doing a whole topic around sea turtles or whatever it is, you can then group it obviously by creating albums and things in your camera roll. But easy place. We've made it mandatory that our grade 5s and 4s only use Pixabay for any images for their projects from now on. So they cannot be using anything from Google. And if the only time that they can go to the only time they can go to Google is obviously if their project is around an established company or something, or like a sports team, and they need that. But then we've said to them that they need to heavily reference it as well. So that's just a nice place for them to go where they know they're not actually breaking the law. So there you go.
That's really good. Thank you for showing us that as well. Like, I've never used that before, but I'm 100% downloading that right now. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a handy little one to have. Sorry I went rogue and just kind of, did a fifth app smash.
I think it was expected, wasn't it? Jacob, I think you expected some rogueness with this group tonight. Hey, Jacob, what app are you sharing tonight with us?
Okay, so I'm going to share an app called Popplet with you. It's an app that probably you've used before, but I think it's very well known and it's a really powerful tool for the classroom. I'm going to use the free version, which lets me make one Popplet, but there is a paid for one where you can do more. So I'm going to show you that example very quickly. This is essentially a mind map tool. So it's a way of kind of organising thoughts and ideas, and I found it really, really useful at the start of a lesson, or perhaps even the start of a topic, to kind of get that rough assessment of what the children know already and what they'd like to learn. So this example I've got now, it was all about a topic on forces and magnets of Year 3 science. And you can see straight away it's quite visual and quite easy to look at. All of these bubbles, you can add additional ones alongside them. And you can do that by tapping onto one and then pressing any of the grey dots. And it will add an additional bubble right next to it for you. You can rearrange these, you can fill them with text, with pictures or drawings, and you can change the colour of each bubble as well. So what I found works really, really well in a kind of assessment situation at the beginning of a topic or a lesson is to put the keywords perhaps in green, any questions that you want to answer over the course of lessons in red, and then any kind of general knowledge from the children in black. So by building up this kind of like this mind map, it's very quick and very easy to get a whole picture of where the class is at. So I've been doing this at the start of each topic in science for a couple of years, and I will then save that as a PDF or a JPEG, and we'll put that in the front of their science books. We're not a paperless school yet, unfortunately, so we still have these old-fashioned book things. But we'll put that in the front of their books, and that straight away shows where we're at, but also any red bubbles are the questions we want to answer. So over the course of our science lessons, or whatever topic it may be, we can then make sure those points are addressed in their books as we go through. So it's a really nice way of kind of what do we know, what do we want to know, and where are we taking our learning, and it's quite a pupil-led approach. And it's really, really simple to use. Like I said, you can literally tap on one of them, you can change the colour straight away, you can add additional bubbles on the top of them, just like that. And these can be filled with anything you want. You can even make them bigger and smaller, should you wish. So it's a really, really quick and efficient tool. It doesn't take any learning at all. You can just jump straight in. And like I say, you can then save it as a JPEG or a PDF to use in whatever outcome you have in mind, kind of thing. So that's a really, really quick look at Popplet. I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. But yeah, I think it's probably something which, if you aren't using in schools, you benefit from. And if you are using in schools, it's a great thing. I think it's brilliant. So, Popplet.
It's a
great
app.
chef. Really good chef. So versatile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Younger people
Jacob, do you know what we do with our poplets? Is
What's
we
that,
pinch
Emma?
them so they're really, really small, and we push them to the side and then create another one. So we still use the free version. But what you can do is you can pinch and you keep, and then you can make it teeny tiny, move it to the side and create another big one. So sometimes the children like to work on one in English and maybe one in maths.
Yeah.
But because we have the free version, we want to have two running.
That's a great idea. I think I take the much more dramatic approach of deleting the whole thing and starting again, but that's a much better solution for the children, of course.
Yeah.
I love Jacob.
Last year when we used that.
Go on, sorry, Sabe.
Sorry, no, you go, Matt.
Thanks. I was just saying with the popples or clouds, regardless of what you call them, you can add the photos in as well, can't you? Straight off the camera roll.
You can, put in any images you want.
It's really, really powerful. Yeah.
It's a very visual way of making a mind map, and what's nice is, we'd always used to use a whiteboard and do it on the board in pen, but that would then disappear at the end of a lesson. This is much more permanent and much more engaging for the children as well. So,
it's a great share. Yeah, such a good app, isn't it? That can be used. It's free.
Yeah, it's simple but effective. That's what a good tool should be. Sabe, do you have something?
No, I just want to share that last year we actually we've used it in inquiry, we've used it for generating questions and ideas, and in a mind map situation. But last year, one of our teachers actually set out, and I wish I actually had her iPad. She used it as an extension task for one of her able writers, and she made this massive. It was almost like an if and then, like choose your own adventure story map that kind of flowed on from all of that. She put all these pictures in and put all these things in, and it was this giant. It was almost like she made it for. Yeah, she made it for Book Week, and it was she blew it up, and it was a giant sort of what do you call it? It was almost like a tablecloth for the tables that the books were on, but kids could actually go in and try and solve. There were all these different endings and things. Like she was a phenomenal writer. But to be able to use it in that way, I thought I've never even thought about doing it that way at all. To come up with a choose your own adventure story. So
that's a really great way of using it. I love it when you can get a tool which fits so many different purposes and which you can use in so many different ways. Because you learn it once and you can use it forever, kind of thing, can't you? Which is really powerful.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, so it's just a simple app, but I think it's one which if people aren't using it out there, it's a great addition to the toolbox, isn't it? But,
definitely.
Well, look, I think it's probably time to wrap this all up. I've had such a great evening chatting to you three. It's been really, really interesting. I think I've learned a huge amount from all of you, and I hope people watching this, if there are people watching this, have learned a lot as well. Emma, you started off with Simple Learning Time, an app made by your students for your students and then shared with the whole world. And not only is that an inspirational story, but it's an app which I can imagine working in every year 1, year 2 classroom, and even beyond that to help with the telling of the time. And it seems to be made for a purpose and done to such a high standard. that I think it will be really, really popular. So thank you for sharing that and shedding some light on that amazing app. Matt, you showed us Video Delay, and again, what a simple but effective app. And you've used it in such a powerful way across your PE lessons and throughout your school. And that's something that I'll be taking back to my school and recommending to our head of PE that we try and use that as well, because it's such a great tool. And like you said earlier, it's not technology for the sake of technology being there. It's there to make a positive difference to pupils, and that's what this should all be about. So thank you for sharing that as well.
Yeah, pleasure.
And Sabe, obviously you've done the double. You slipped a second one in there, so you've shown us Adobe Spark video, and you've shown us Pixabay. Pixabay or Pixabay? Pixabay.
Pixabay, yeah.
Both of which have been really interesting. I've not used either of them before, but they clearly work hand in hand and separately as well. And I think Adobe Spark Video looks to be a great tool that you can integrate into a classroom. And I think you mentioned it was kind of like a mix between Clips and Keynote, in that there's elements of both which kind of fit together really nicely. And I think that's quite a useful tool, actually. And obviously getting, images that aren't copyrighted that children can use in their projects, that works across so many different apps. And it's a great lesson as well about being careful of what you do use online and what you can and can't just take and then use without permission. So that's a really great thing to do. And I'll be installing all of these apps on iPads this week, because I can see a place for every single one of them in my teaching and also in the wider school. So I really hope people watching this are kind of learning something from it and maybe giving some of these apps a try. So we'll put links to all of them in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, all three of you. It's been a really fun evening, so thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jacob.
It's been fab.
Thanks, Jacob.